Good morning, my dear students. My name is Neil Twayna. Currently, I am available at the Hamlet Tuition Center, Brahmatul, Kathmandu, and Kumudini Kunja Secondary School, Kalimati, Kathmandu. If you want to contact me, it is 9849135739. My dear students of grade 10, this is your science class, and in your science class, we are going to start our new lesson, and this time we are going to take a lesson from biology. Okay, up to our previous class we have been studying physics. Okay, our first lesson in biology is life cycle of invertebrates, and among many invertebrates we need to study about two beneficial invertebrates, useful insects, which are silkworm or silk moth and honeybee. Let us discuss about silkworm first. You can see in the picture, well, see this these are the picture of silk moth. Okay, this is a picture of silk moth, which is very hairy. Yes, the moth is very hairy and it cannot fly very long distance. Its body is heavy, and you can see it has already lost its mouth part. So the interesting fact about silk moth is they do not feed in their adult life. They feed only in their larva stage. Okay, when they become adult they do not feed at all, and the only purpose of their adult life is to reproduce. After reproduction, after mating, male dies off because of exhaustion. Yes, and since they do not have mouth part, they cannot eat. Okay, that's why once their energy is finished, they are finished. And the females, they also lay egg, and after laying egg they also die out of exhaustion, and thus ends their life cycle. Yes, okay, the life is very short. We usually say "dui din ko jindagani," isn't it? Well, that is applicable for silk moth, not for us, for silk moth indeed. Okay, anyway, here is another picture of silk moth from bottom. Yes, this picture was taken from front. Okay, silk moth usually lays flat on leaves, on surface. Yes, and this one, the picture from bottom, and you can see there are two pairs of wings, two pairs of white wings, and they are also hairy. Okay, well, silkworm is considered as important insect. Okay, because its name suggests, by its name you know what is its importance. It produces silk, and you know what is silk? Silk is very expensive cloth. Yes, silk is very expensive cloth, and that silk thread is produced by this moth, silk moth. Okay, silk moth. It is also called silkworm. In larva stage it is called silkworm. In adult stage it is called silk moth. Okay, see the note. Silkworm is a type of moth. Moth is like butterfly. Okay, moth is like butterfly, but they are different from butterfly. Okay, moths, just like butterfly, moth also have two pairs of large wings. They are different from other kinds of insects. Okay, they have two pairs of large wings. Yes, and what is different from butterfly about moth is moth do not feed. They do not feed in their adult life, but butterfly, they feed throughout their life cycle. Okay, so silkworm is a type of moth. It is found mainly in East Asia. It is beneficial insect. It is reared on a large scale for the production of silk. Cultivation of silkworm, also called sericulture, began in China about 5,000 years ago. Well, in very past, people used to wear clothes, or people used to cover their body by using tree bark, leaves, animal skin, etc. Yes, after tanning was developed, they tanned animal skin into leather, and they started to make clothes of leather. Okay, but long after, especially in China, not in other parts of world, but in China was very advanced civilization even a long time ago. Okay, so Chinese discovered silkworms. Chinese discovered silkworms, and they learned to extract silk from these silkworms, just like we extract wool from sheep, isn't it? Just like we extract wool from sheep, they learned to extract silk from silkworm. And for your information, extracting wool was also discovered or invented by Chinese. Okay, so they are very advanced culture. So sericulture, it began in China about 5,000 years ago, and nowadays silkworm is cultivated in Italy, Spain, France, and Japan as well. In Nepal and India also, significant amount of silk is reared. Okay, so in China, in past, in medieval time, in China, silkworm was considered to be divine. Okay, they praise silkworm, they worship silkworm. Okay, so taking silkworm or their eggs out of China was considered illegal, an offense against the emperor. Okay, whoever tries to take silkworm or their eggs out of China, they are punished by death. That is serious offense back then. And traders, especially European traders, they have to rely on supply of silk from China. Okay, European traders, they have to travel to China to get the silk, and to get silk they need money. Yes, either they need silver coins, or they need any other commodities that can be found in Europe, so that they can trade it with silk. Okay, that way European merchants would come to China. They will trade their goods with silk. They take silk back to their European countries, and then they sell it at very high price. And that's why silk was the most expensive fiber in Europe. Okay, and silk was afforded only by royalties or royal people, royal personals. It was affordable only by high status, high class people. So silk became a symbol of high class status. Okay, so later on when demand for silk kept on increasing in Europe, but supply was meager, then price of silk rose even higher. And then what European merchants did, they smuggled silkworm eggs of silkworm and seed of mulberry trees, because silkworm, they feed on mulberry leaves. They do not feed on any other things. They feed only on mulberry leaves. Okay, so they smuggled eggs of silkworm and seeds of mulberry trees, and that's how sericulture began in Europe as well. Okay, and when production started in Europe itself, then the price for silk decreased, because supply increased, isn't it? Okay, that's enough about the introduction of silkworm. That's all about introduction to silkworm. Okay, next, classification of silkworm in Nepal. We need to now read in context of Nepal. In Nepal, two types of silkworm are reared. Okay, in Nepal, two types of silkworms are farmed. This one, you can see the white one, it is called Seri silkworm. The white one, it is called Seri silkworm, and the brown one, it more or less it looks like a butterfly, but it's not a butterfly. The brown one, it is called Eri silkworm. Okay, there are two types of silkworm, Seri and Eri. Out of them, Seri silkworm is mostly cultivated. Seri silkworm is mostly cultivated. Now both of them, their kingdom is Animalia. Animalia means they can locomocate, they can move. Sub kingdom is Invertebrata, means they do not have backbone or internal skeleton. Their phylum is Arthropoda, means they have jointed appendages. Their class is Insecta, means they have six appendages or 3 pair of legs. Class Insecta means they have 3 pair of legs. Okay, and at one or another stage they have wings in their thorax. Yes, And this series silkworm, its genus is Bombyx, species is Mori, Bombyx mori, and genus of airy silkworm is Attacus, and species is Ricini, Attacus ricini. Okay, series silkworm Bombyx mori, series silkworm Bombyx mori, airy silkworm Attacus ricini, Attacus ricini. Okay, and another difference is series silkworm, they feed only on mulberry leaves. Okay, they feed only on mulberry leaves. Silkworms are very specific feeder. Okay, whereas airy silkworm, they feed only on castor leaves. Okay, have you seen castor? Well, I haven't seen. Okay, I will search a picture and show you. Okay, you can see here, this is castor plant. Okay, this is castor plant, and it is also called ricinus plant, ricinus. That's why the airy silkworm which feed on this plant got its scientific name, Attacus ricini. Yes, this is castor plant. And you can see other pictures also. Here you can see the specific leaf of the castor plant. Okay, okay, this is the leaf of castor plant. You might have seen this kind of plants in your surrounding. Okay, and then mulberry plant. Okay, this mulberry, this is all in Nepali we call it kimbu. Okay, kimbu. Okay, so series silkworm, they feed on leaves of these mulberry. Okay, they feed on leaves of mulberry tree. You can see it in enlarged view. Yes, kimbu. Okay, okay, you might have seen this if you go to villages. In Kathmandu, I haven't seen these plants around. Anyway, so these are this is series silkworm which feeds on mulberry leaves, and this is airy silkworm which feeds on castor leaves. Once again, remember this: in their adult stage they do not feed. In their adult stage they do not feed. They feed only in larva stage. When they are larva, they are in caterpillar phase. Only at that time they feed. Okay, moths feed only during their larva stage, only when they are caterpillar. Any confusion up here? Okay, so let's now enter into the life cycle of silkworm. Okay, I will give you some time to copy this diagram. It is very important, and then I will explain. You can pause the screen to copy the diagram. Okay, if you have copied, let me explain this a little bit. Life cycle of silkworm, it completes in 4 stages. The first stage is egg. Okay, okay, I guess this is not of egg. Here, egg. Okay, here you can see the first stage is egg. Okay, and after egg it comes to larva. Yes, after egg, after hatching the egg, it comes to larva. The picture, sorry for the order of picture, let me correct it. Okay, now it's okay. The first stage is egg. Yes, and from egg it hatches larva. Larva becomes pupa, and from pupa the adult comes out. Okay, and that adult again lays egg, and again the cycle repeats. Yes, the eggs of silkworm are, they are very small, the size of peanuts. Okay, silkworm lays around 300 eggs. Silkworm lays, sorry, not 300. Yes, silkworm lays around 300 eggs on the surface of mulberry leaves, and some to prevent the eggs from falling down, they release gelatinous substance. They release gelatinous substance onto the leaf. Okay, because of that the egg keeps on attached on the leaf. Yes, and after 11 to 14 days, after the eggs are laid, in around 2 weeks, that means 11 to 14 days means in around 2 weeks, the eggs hatch. The eggs hatch into larva. Yes, the egg hatch into larva, and the larva which has just hatched from egg is called first instar, and it is very small. It is very small, like a thread of hair. The first instar is very small, and this first instar, as soon as they hatch from egg, they get on the surface of leaf, isn't it, mulberry leaf, and their food is mulberry leaf. So as soon as they get out of their egg, they are supplied with food. Their parents or their mother is very wise, isn't it? The mother is very wise. They lay their eggs on the surface of mulberry leaves, so that as soon as their children come out, they can feed, because the mother will not be there to feed them. The mother will die off after laying egg. Yes, so as soon as the larva comes out, which is also called first instar, it starts to eat voraciously on the mulberry leaf. Okay, because of voracious eating, the larva grows very rapidly. Okay, the larva grows very rapidly, and initially their outer body is very soft, not covered by exoskeleton. Okay, as time passes on, within 3 to 4 days, their exoskeleton is also formed. Exoskeleton is very hard. So after exoskeleton is formed, they cannot grow any larger. Once exoskeleton is formed, they cannot grow any larger. Okay, because exoskeleton is very hard. Yes, it is like iron plate. Okay, if you are kept inside iron plate, and you cannot grow in that case. Yes, it is just like that. Okay, they cannot grow. So what they have to do is they have to shed the exoskeleton they have developed. They have to shed the exoskeleton. That means they have to shed their skin. Okay, and that process of shedding skin during larva stage is also known as molting. Yes, and that molting occurs at least 4 times. So after first molting, it becomes second instar, second molting third instar, third molting fourth instar, and and fourth molting fifth instar. Yes, okay, you can see the time duration of molting in this picture as well. In 3 to 4 days first molting occurs. After first molting, second molting occurs in 2 to 3 days. Yes, and 3 to 4 days after second molting, third molting occurs, and after 5 to 6 days after third molting, fourth molting occurs. Okay, after fourth molting, it is called fifth instar, and fifth instar, it keeps on growing, and when it fully develops, it does not undergo molting. Okay, so in this larva stage, the silkworm have to gather energy for rest of the period of its life. Okay, in the larva stage, it has to gather energy for the rest of the period of its life. Then after this stage, it will not feed in any stage. This is the last stage they will feed anything. After this stage, it will not feed anything. So at the end of fifth instar, it develops silk gland in its mouth. Okay, at the end of fifth instar stage, it develops silk gland in its mouth. The gland produces saliva like substance. Okay, the gland produces saliva like substance, and it covers its body, it wraps its body in the saliva, in its own saliva, Okay, and when that saliva comes out of the gland after few moments, it becomes solid. Okay, so when it completely wraps itself, it looks like a ball. You can see here, it looks like a ball. Yes, inside it there is a living larva, outside it is a covering. So at this stage it does not move, it does not feed. Okay, so physically this stage is inactive. Okay, the pupa stage is physically inactive, but metamorphologically or metabolically it is very active, because inside pupa many changes take place. Inside pupa many changes take place, that the larva becomes adult. Like the larva does not have wings, wings are developed. Larva has pseudo legs. See, it has legs in its abdomen as well. These legs will disappear. Larva does not have long legs in thorax. These legs are developed in the very stage, in this stage as well. Okay, so pupa is metabolically very active stage. Okay, development, lots of development activities occur in pupa stage. Yes, so at the end of pupa stage, now that pupa stage remains for 10 to 15 days. After end of pupa stage, the adult is completely developed, which is called imago. Okay, and at the mouth of imago has a special gland which produces chemical substance, and that chemical dissolves the cocoon. That chemical dissolves the cocoon. Okay, and it makes a hole in the cocoon. From that hole the imago comes out. From that hole the imago comes out, or the adult comes out. And definitely there are two types of adult, male adult and female adult, isn't it? And at this stage during metamorphosis, their mouth parts are destroyed. Okay, during metamorphosis their mouth parts are destroyed, so they cannot feed. Okay, yet they have reserve energy which they obtained in larva stage, isn't it? They have reserve energy which they obtained in larva stage. Okay, so females, they don't move, they will remain wherever they are hatched. They will not fly away, they will remain at the same place, whereas they release a chemical substance called pheromone. They release a chemical substance called pheromone, and by detecting the smell of that pheromone, males will fly to the female. Okay, males fly very long distance, they might have to fly very long distance to find the females. Yes, so after that, after taking the flight, they are already exhausted. Yes, and mating occurs between male and female. At the end of mating, the males, they have used up all their energy. Yes, the energy in their body is finished. That stage is known as exhaustion. When all the energy in your body is finished, that is called exhaustion. The male experiences exhaustion. The male experiences exhaustion, and they cannot feed, they cannot eat, means their energy will not be regenerated. Okay, so they die. After mating, males die. See, this is actually a sad love story, isn't it? The male searches for its soulmate, it finds a soulmate, it mates with a soulmate, and right after mating it dies. It does not have much days to live. Yes, and regarding the female, after mating, her eggs are fertilized, and then she starts to lay the eggs. And laying egg also requires a lot of energy. That's why she does not fly. She needs to preserve her energy. Yes, and after laying all the eggs, then she also becomes exhausted. She can also not feed anything, and then she also dies of exhaustion. In this way its life cycle completes. Okay, the life cycle of silkworm completes in this way. Yes, and then new life cycle begins. New life begins from egg. Existing life ends, but new life begins from egg. Any confusion? Okay, now you can see here there are three stages of three types of egg hatching. If the egg is hatched naturally, then it takes 9 to 12 days. If it is hatched artificially, that means by keeping in oven, it takes 11 to 14 days. And you can put the egg into hibernation as well. We will study about that in our later classes. Okay, any confusion? Okay, we'll do this much for today. Okay, we'll take note on the life cycle of silkworm in our next class. Don't worry, today we have done only listening. Today you have done only listening. Yes, in next class we will write note on this topic. Okay, until then, thank you class.